as we progress towards integrating into the African Continental Free Trade Area, which is extremely important to the development of our individual countries through trade and investment. We look forward to the opportunities that will arise from a single market for goods and services aimed at boosting trade and investment for the mutual benefit of our countries on the continent. I shall repeat this: for the mutual benefit of our individual countries on our continent. We must ensure that the African Free Trade Area is meaningful to all our people across Africa, meaningful for inclusive economic growth, jobs, and business opportunities in our individual countries. Because if we don't achieve that, it will be difficult to sustain the free trade area. Benefits must be seen by our people in the individual countries. Trade is an important tool for economic growth in our nations as a prerequisite for development in our countries, on our continent, as I've said. It is a tool that will create wealth and lift many of our citizens out of poverty on a continent as rich as ours. Zambia is committed to enhancing intra-Africa trade, and this is evidenced by the presence of the political leaders, government leaders here today, and our business community. Your Excellencies, there is enormous potential for trade and investment amongst us Africans, before we think of other continents. It is important that we see the value of working together as a continent, as a people, as businesses. Our countries are endowed with natural resources which can be used to create sustainable regional value chains to grow our economies. We must move beyond the overstated story of our potential and move towards actualization of this potential. The African narrative must move from poverty, instability, and aid to investment, trade, and indeed stability. With stability, we can achieve a lot. We can focus our limited resources towards trade and investment to offer opportunities to our people, especially young people. As you know, our population dynamic is much occupied by the young population, and they need a lot from us: education, job opportunities, business opportunities. Your Excellencies, the implementation of the tenets of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area would take our continent to significant levels of cooperation as envisaged by our forefathers. We heard about Kwame Nkrumah here, and many others who basically saw this vision of Africa working together much earlier than most of the people did across the world. So ourselves, our own people, our own leaders, our own forefathers understood how Africa would be better if it worked together amongst itself and, of course, its people. Very important. The implementation of the tenets, therefore, of the Africa Free Trade Area must look at the importance of cooperation, importance of working together, the synergy that arises by working together. And I think it will deliver much stronger benefits, which are also sustainable. Its tenets are key to enhancing our trade, development, and most importantly, uniting our continent at a people-to-people level, business-to-business level, because that's what will entrench unity on our continent. If our people begin to know each other, to understand their talents, diverse talents, and how they can pull these talents together to benefit their populations across our continent. Your Excellencies, the Intra-African Trade Fair agenda is an affirmation of our abiding believe that Africa and the world at large can be a better place for all of us if we work towards achieving our common goals. And there are many of these. There is no better way to connect with one another than through trade and investment. In addition to already our existing and known historical, cultural, and even family ties, I dare say so, including President Ramaphosa, share names. I'm sure you're not aware that so much similarity in that score, such as Nongoma here in KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa and Nangoma in Zambia. It cannot be a coincidence. Absolutely cannot be a coincidence. There is untapped potential for enhancing intra-African trade through regional integration. Our government is committed to supporting initiatives in this trade fair that seek to showcase trade and investment opportunities. Your Excellencies, this Intra-African Trade Fair should spark conversations about what is working and what needs to be improved, particularly in the midst of the challenges that we all face in our individual countries. Specifically, it is true that none of our countries have been spared from the negative impact of the coronavirus pandemic, as well as the effects of climate change, which we must pay particular attention to as we seek to integrate, as we seek to develop our individual countries and our continent as a whole. As state actors ourselves, I'm talking about leaders in this hall, I'm talking about those who run governments, those who drive policies in our countries, on our continent. The free trade area should identify key priorities and the infrastructure that will be required to efficiently and effectively trade amongst ourselves, to facilitate trade amongst ourselves. And it's important, such priorities, I shall repeat, it is important that such priorities should include basics such as ensuring that the safety of our drivers driving goods within our countries and across boundaries are safe. This is a small looking issue, but very, very important in promoting trade and investment, because to move goods across our countries, we do need to ensure that as drivers and other such personnel move within our countries, they are kept safe, they are protected. Then it will be easier to facilitate trade amongst our countries. With greater cooperation, Your Excellencies, and alignment, it will not be far-fetched for every corner of our continent to become connected and accessible, and for the social and economic development of our people to be possible, to be accelerated much faster than most of us assume, because the economic aspect, the trade aspect, is such an imperative that one cannot ignore it, because it does affect the welfare of our individual citizens in our countries. We need to start with the most strategic infrastructure to give us the required leap forward as we work together. This is a time for us all to catalyze Africa, shift Africa's emphasis from negatives towards prosperity, towards stability. Our individual strengths and various competitive advantages are not a cause for division. Absolutely not, but to be leveraged for the development of our continent, working together. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I close, I wish to commend the African Export-Import Bank for an excellent presentation that we've just had. The African Union, the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, and of course, our host, the South African government led by President Ramaphosa, for putting together this platform that brings together governments and businesses from across Africa and the world in search of trade and investment opportunities. to benefit, once again, our people in our countries, on our continent. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attention.
Yes. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much. We'll now move on. I'd like to call to the podium His Excellency Hussein Ali Mwinyi, President of Zanzibar and Chairperson of the Revolutionary Government. Give him a round of applause, please.